If I were to meet my mom after school, I would literally go into an ER. And
Wow.
everyone knew us, all the nurses, the paramedics, the doctors. They would make us balloons from helium and the gloves. Like they would create these games. We would pretend to be like in braces and take photos. And then there'd be like a code blue and they would get us into the doctor's room. It was this dynamic and it was so normal to me.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Look Both Ways. Today, we're sitting down with Dr. Nazli Offringa, a health communication scholar, USC faculty, seasoned journalist, academic advisor, and mother of two. Dr. Naz, as her students call her, works across academia, media, and cultural analysis, giving her a rare vantage point on the pressures modern parents face. She's also the creator of The Village, a new platform focused on honest, evidence-based conversations about working parenthood, the kind that cut through celebrity narratives, impossible expectations, and the polished versions of motherhood we're too often sold. In this episode, we'll talk about identity, invisible labor, sleep deprivation, ambition, and the real cost of trying to maintain a career while caring for small children. Nazli brings both research and lived experience to the table, and she does it with an honesty that feels like a relief. Welcome, Naz.
Thank you for having me. It's so lovely to be here.
Thanks for being here. So let's start from the beginning. You grew up in Istanbul before moving to the US. What was that like?
It was crazy, honestly, now looking back. I was born and raised in Turkey and I left for college. So I lived there for 17 years. And Istanbul is, I don't know if you've ever been, but a crazy city. Now looking back and thinking back to all the times that I was like commuting to school in traffic, like it's really like a cosmopolitan, busy, but also so warm. Like everyone is so warm, welcoming. Food is phenomenal. I loved growing up there. I really truly enjoyed bringing my culture from Turkey to here and see how it like mixes with American culture. It was crazy. I think crazy is the way to describe it. But it taught me a lot. Taught me a lot of like street smarts and stuff.
What was your family dynamic like? How did they operate? What did you talk about in terms of work or independence or a family unit?
Yeah, my parents are both surgeons and they got divorced when I was 11. And funny enough, they're like best of friends now. So I don't know what to do with my trauma now, but so it's great. Thank you for communicating. But so I grew up, I was raised by two surgeons um and they are both very hardworking people. Hard work and work ethic was just something we were born into and it was expected from us. And I remember my friends would get like presents and stuff for getting good grades, where I would get good grades and they'd be like, good, it's your only responsibility in life. And I'm like, okay, moving on. So it was expected from us. My mom is, I don't know how she did it all. Now that I'm a mom of two, she was like the chief of ER and a breast cancer surgeon, and the only woman surgeon in a group of men. And the stories were crazy and fascinating at the same time. And dinner conversations were patients usually. Other crazy cases from that day. So I was really born into a family that always talked about health or medicine or healthcare. And I tell people that I grew up in the ER because that was my mom's office. If I were to meet my mom after school, I would literally go into an ER. And
Wow.
everyone knew us, like all the nurses, the paramedics, the doctors. They would make us like balloons from helium and like the gloves. Like they would literally like create these games. We would pretend to be like in braces and take photos, and then there'd be like a code blue and they would get us into the doctor's room. It was this dynamic and it was so normal to me. And to
Wow.
this day, hospitals are my happy place in a weird way. Like when I walk into a hospital, this calm comes over me, which is not
That
everyone's
is so not
experience.
normal. That is
No.
so
So
not
my
normal.
husband's the opposite. Like my husband, like our son, when he was two, fell and cut open his head, right? Like blood everywhere. I didn't know what to do at home. I passed him on and I sat down and I cried. And my husband was so calm and collected. The second we went into the hospital, roles flipped. I was like, I got this. Where's the surgeon? Get the stitches. And my husband was like, I can't be here. I can't see it. So he left. So I was like, weird. Hospital's my safe place. So that, and I think that whole dynamic led me to my career in health. But that's my normal. Like being in a
That's
hospital
amazing.
setting, a high stakes, high stress environment calms me down in a weird way.
That's amazing. And you saw your mom balancing motherhood and not only career, but being a surgeon and taking on the extra responsibilities and roles that she did. Like you saw your mom with a kind of badass profession.
It's almost like too much to have her as my role model. Because like I'm always
Yeah.
reminded. I was like, oh mom, I didn't sleep last night. Oh, but are you operating today? And I'm like, okay. All right. All right, superwoman. Sorry. But yeah, honestly though, like she never had any excuses. She would just do it. And it sounds like Nike, but her thing would be like, just do it. No, just do it. It'll come easy to you if you just do it. And that was like her whole take in life. Looking back, if you think about it, like she was a fantastic mother, a phenomenal doctor. She was also like a public figure in women's health in Turkey. But then the marriage failed. So it's, can you? I don't know. Something to think about, something I've been thinking about in my current age, because there's a lot of pressure around being the perfect
Yeah.
mom, the perfect person.
Oh, absolutely. So when you were growing up, that's just what it was. It wasn't, did you have an idea in your head of what it should be, or that you were just in it? You were in the hospital, you were at home. This is just what you experienced.
It really felt like that was normal to me. It was like, oh,
Yeah.
sure. My mom, I remember this one instance, actually, now I'm thinking it was really late at night on a school day. So we went to bed really early. My mom worked the whole day at the hospital. I was in bed sleeping and I heard her talking,
Yeah.
like, and I went into the kitchen and she was putting groceries away. And mind you, this was like maybe 11 p.m. And I'm like, Mom, who are you talking to? And she's like, myself. And I was like, my mom is, that's when it hit me. I'm like, wow, this woman worked all day, made dinner, spent the entire night with us, put us to sleep, now putting away groceries. Like she got no time for herself all day and she's talking to herself.
I
Like
love
just to
that.
like, and that really, and I was probably in like high school, but I think that was the first time I was like, wow, my mom is doing a lot, you know?
Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
think that was the first time I realized, sure, that was my normal, but I don't think it was normal. I think she was doing a lot.
Was that normal in Turkey?
Is it normal? I think mothers taking over a disproportionate amount of the work is pretty common.
Okay.
I think I'm not really familiar with this generation because I haven't lived there in a long time, but
Yeah.
when I was growing up, it was pretty common for moms to do like all the housework. They might or might not be working, but they were the main caretakers. And dads would work, but they weren't as present in family life. At least that's what I witnessed in my circle. And I think there's a serious like contrast between that and today, especially from what I'm experiencing here in this country and what I'm
Yeah.
surrounded with. I don't know if that's a cultural difference or if it's a generational difference. But yeah,
Sure.
working moms worked a lot because they also did all the house responsibilities and most of the parenting, I would say.
Yeah. So it's such an interesting childhood. You decide you're getting ready to go to college. How did you decide what you wanted to study, where you wanted to live? What was that next step in your journey like?
So I was a little delusional because I wanted to be a doctor. So I was going to be pre-med. But in Turkey, it was like, oh, you have to be a doctor, a lawyer, an architect, or an engineer, or why are you even going to school? Was the mentality, especially because I was going to go abroad. Even my college counselor was like, you have to do one of these four. Otherwise, well, like, why do you even? So I was like, sure, I'll do engineering. So I got into a bunch of biomedical engineering programs. And Princeton was the best school I got into, and they didn't have that. And they had like operations research and finance engineering. And I was like, sure, I'm good at math. Let me do that. So I was that and pre med.
Wow.
Then I started college and I was like, I had my first existential crisis. I was like, I hate this whole thing. I hate engineering. I hate pre-med. Like, I loved biology and I loved math, but I didn't even know what engineering really was. I think it was just like imposed upon me that I had to do that. But once it was freshman fall and I was taking all these classes, I was so depressed and I thought it was the school. And then I remember one of my really good friends, Sarah, who's also Turkish, she was a year above me. She said, you don't have to study these things. Like, you can switch your major, you can drop physics. Who cares? And I was like, can I? So, thanks to her, I switched my major. I dropped all these ridiculous requirements and I was really happy. So, no, I didn't know what I wanted to be. I thought I did, but once I was in it, it was so ridiculous. It's really unattainable. So, that
Uh,
changed.
You spent quite a few years in academia.
Yeah, I'm still in it. So, I
Yeah.
love school. I'm a nerd at heart. I was always a really good student. I love school. I love like my life is spent in semesters since I was 6, maybe. That's how I function in semesters. People have quarters, I have semesters. And it really works with my personality. The structure really works. In terms of location, you were asking, like, I wasn't allowed to apply to anywhere on the West Coast. I could only do East Coast because we have some family on the East Coast. And just in case I needed someone, they would be there. It was closer to Europe, technically. So that was the only thing I had in my mind, that I could do East Coast schools and I could study these ridiculous things. But I'm so glad I changed that whole thing and found my happy place.
I love that. So you graduated with a bunch of different degrees. You started your work journey. That's not an eloquent way to describe all your
Yeah.
experience, but
No,
you
but
went to
that's true.
school. Yeah, you went to school for a long time and you got a bunch of really
Yeah.
impressive degrees.
Thank you.
You jump into the first chapter of your career. What was that like?
So after school, I worked as a medical researcher at the Dr. Oz show. And that is where I truly learned the importance of health communication and how it could really change lives. And I loved media. I The job wasn't great. I was like underpaid, working crazy hours in the workplace and trying to tell producers, you can't say that, but I learned a lot. I learned a lot. And I was a ghostwriter there too for all these fantastic Turkish magazines and newspapers, or even some of the big ones here. And I hated not seeing my name on my work. So
Yeah.
I was like, and I really missed school. I truly struggled with working in an office. We had an open office. I had to do a lot of creative thinking. I had to do a lot of research, and I could not think. Everyone was talking. It was like, that's not what I'm used to. I really missed the library. So what I would do is I would work until 6. I would take the train up to Columbia where my sister was a student. I would go into a library and do my actual work. So
Wow.
that's what I did because I could not function like in that atmosphere, like in that environment. I wasn't used to it. So that's why I decided to go back to school and get my master's. And I got it in health and science journalism at Columbia. And that's where I really learned how to translate complicated medical information, scientific information for the general public in a way that's like accurate and still meaningful, which is really hard. And I think we saw how hard that was during the pandemic. And the pandemic was when I realized, oh, this is why I studied all these things. This is why health communication matters. Woo! And after Columbia, I knew I still wanted to be in school and do some research and go into health comm. And that's how I ended up at USC getting my PhD. And I've been there ever since. After my PhD, I started teaching at USC and I still teach health communication. Um, but yeah, that's how the whole thing unfolded from health TV to now mostly academia.
I love that. So you found this really unique niche of the medical
Yeah,
world that you grew up with and the communicator that you're naturally a great communicator. So you found this in
yeah,
between need for complicated things to be explained generally, which
yeah.
you're absolutely right. COVID was probably maybe the biggest example, hopefully the biggest example of our lifetime of that need
Amen. I can't take
publicly.
any more. Take any
Yeah.
more of that. Yeah, that was crazy because actually what happened was I was in Turkey right before the lockdowns. I was gonna get married. So the whole thing is I was wedding planning in Turkey, and then we found out there's gonna be a lockdown. The whole entire world is gonna go under lockdown. So I literally was on the last flight back to LA. But in Turkey, I realized how people had no idea when it came to how to use masks properly. Like we went into a pharmacy to buy masks, and this guy behind the register, no gloves, was taking masks out of their original packaging and putting them in individual Ziploc bags to sell them individually, but touching everything in the meantime, touching the money. And I was like, what are you doing? What are you doing? So I decided to do this like very quick video on Instagram. I had like only my friends on my Instagram, showing them how to use a medical mask properly with the help of my mom, who is a surgeon. So she was telling
Right.
me like, this is what they're doing wrong. So I did that, and that video went viral in
Wow.
Turkey, thanks to a few like influencer friends who just reshared it. And then I blew up overnight because everyone was sick. Everyone was sick. I remember I was really traumatized by this. I got thousands of messages from Turkey about people like describing their symptoms, and they didn't know what was going on. Um, so I did another video explaining what COVID is and what the symptoms are. And I was just using the sources here in the States. I was using the CDC, New York Times, established scientific, I don't know, World Health Organization, which kind of let us down a little bit. But
Yeah.
so I was using these sources that I use often to make a video, and that blew up too. So I overnight became like Turkey's COVID person, like the COVID expert. It's
Wow.
crazy. It was crazy.
And
Yeah.
were you in Turkey just wedding planning or had you moved
Y-
back?
No, just visiting. I was there for
Just
two
visiting.
weeks and I was supposed to go to Italy, which was where my northern Italy that shut down was where I was supposed to get married. So that was my stop before Italy, just seeing family in Turkey, doing some wedding prep, getting my teeth whitened.
My gosh.
And then everything got canceled and I flew back. I think that at the point it was like 2 months after I graduated with my PhD.
Okay.
2020. Yeah. Or I honestly, I don't remember. I might have been still a student, but I was in the last bit of it. Suddenly I was on CNN Turkey. I was on all these like YouTube programs, news channels, Turkish news channels. Just people were also curious about what was going on in America with the virus. And I know we thought we had it bad, but we actually had it pretty good compared to some other situations in terms of being informed and research going into understanding the disease. So that was the first time I think I actually worked as a health communicator on a public health level. I loved it.
Wow. 0 to 100 in
Overnight.
one
Yeah.
post.
Yeah. It was crazy. It's crazy.
So during some year that you were at school, you met your now husband?
Yes. In 2017, we met, but we met on a dating app. We met on Bumble. Um, And so funny because I have this friend who I call her a witch who reads Turkish coffee grounds and tells you your future, right? It's like a fun thing we do. I was single and she did a reading for me and she goes, "You haven't met your husband yet," which I was really mad about because I was like, I need to get married. But you will meet him and you will be married at your graduation and he will be standing behind you tall and he's going to help you graduate. And I was like, okay. And then I met this guy who's also a PhD, but he was a data scientist. So we started dating, and he really did help me with my dissertation and did
Oh my
a
goodness.
bunch of my data analysis. And we were married by the time I graduated, which was so crazy. My friend's a witch. She just saw the whole thing and told me.
In the
But yeah,
coffee
we
grounds.
isn't that crazy?
I love that.
Um, I take notes when she reads my coffee grounds because she's really good. And I found it. It's literally describing my husband. Yeah, I am a scientist, but I also believe in this stuff. So
Sure.
it's
Absolutely.
you need them both. So yeah, we met in 2017. We got civilly married at 2019, and then we were supposed to have our wedding in 2020.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen, but we still wanted to start a family because I was in it and I knew this was going to take at least 2 years, that we couldn't have a wedding for 2 years from a public health standpoint.
Yeah.
So, and then we went straight into it. moved to Cape Cod during the pandemic and got pregnant.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So your first was born.
My son was born March 2021. So he is considered a pandemic baby because there were still a lot of restrictions around appointments and the actual delivery, who can be there, who can, if they wear a mask and the whole thing. And I was pregnant throughout the pandemic. It was quite isolating. It was lovely in terms of it was just me and my husband in the middle of nowhere. And I look back at the time very fondly, but I also remember really mourning not being able to go to a pregnancy yoga class in person or not having a baby shower. We had a Zoom shower. So I was really, it's bittersweet. Um, so yeah, my first was born March 2021. And I remember I got vaccinated postpartum because the vaccine wasn't ready or something when I was pregnant. So he was born just right around that time.
Yeah. How did, so you had your first in Cape Cod?
Yeah, Boston, and then we got back to Cape Cod.
Wow.
So random.
And how did you feel? How was that transition like for you?
It was so hard. It was so hard, and it took me by surprise because I literally did my dissertation on first time pregnancy and childbirth and decision making. And I thought I knew it all, right? Like I read all the books. I became a doula in the meantime just for research. Like I was in it. I did hospital tours. I wasn't pregnant, but I did all the work.
Yeah.
But once I had the baby, I was like, I had no idea what I was going to do with this baby. I
So
knew.
I want to dig into this a little bit. What did you
Yes.
think you knew? What was the dissertation about? Because it's very common that new moms will talk about, oh, we thought we knew where it was going to be, but it's so different. But you actually did research and put together something
It was
published in this
just
space. What was it?
I literally was like, oh, how stupid of me to spend all this time on pregnancy and zero time on newborn life, like zero
Oh,
time on postpartum. I knew like how to support a mom during the first 40 days, like, sure, but there's a baby. So who's taking care of the baby? Literally Googling like nap schedules as I was holding my baby at the hospital. And I was like, they're supposed to nap
yeah.
every hour and a half? And wait, I'm supposed to breastfeed every hour and a half or 2 hours, but that includes the breastfeeding time. And wait, what? So I'm actually breastfeeding every 40 minutes? I was just thinking of like how clueless I was when it came to taking care of a baby and how hyper focused I was on the birth, which was like, okay, done and over with. Well, I really felt I the blues, the postpartum blues. I don't think I was
Yeah.
ever depressed. I was also shocked by how easily we throw that around, like postpartum depression, without really looking at like how like this is a huge transition for a woman. Everything changes overnight. You need the support, and if you don't get the support, you will be depressed. Like
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the actual like hormonal changes and when you need medication, sure, but any woman who gives birth needs so much support, and not getting it will make you lose your mind. Like I remember rocking my baby at 3 a.m., maybe on night 10, right? We're just in the beginning, crying, thinking, what have I done to my life? I was like, this is my life now. What was I thinking? And I feel so bad for myself now looking back because that's such a now I wish I could go back. It's
Yeah.
no, I don't wish that. I lied. I don't wish to go back to that chair 10 days postpartum, but these are all phases and they go by so quickly.
Yeah.
But at that time I had no idea what was happening and every breastfeeding was so hard. And no, I couldn't see anyone in person. My lactation consultant was over Zoom. And
Yikes.
after having my second baby, when a lactation consultant came home and spent 2 hours with me, I like cried from happiness, but also feeling so sad for myself that I had to go through it without this help the first time around. Oh,
Yeah.
how I wish this woman was there holding my hand, telling me I'm doing a good job. I get emotional thinking about it, but it was so hard, and it was harder because it was the pandemic. And it was hard even though my mom was there. It's just hard because you have to go through it yourself. Second time was much easier. We still had hard moments. It has its own challenges, but the baby part, it was I knew it. I knew what to expect. I knew what to do. And I knew that was normal. Sometimes all you need to hear is, this is normal. This happens. Like,
Yeah.
this is what's going to happen. It's like having those expectations set for you. And you mentioned being a perfectionist, same. So if my baby doesn't nap at that exact hour, like I felt like I failed as a mom, my whole day is ruined. Who cares? Like,
Yeah.
they're gonna sleep when they need to sleep. Fine.
I think something that you said reminded me when people would ask me what it was like to be a young mom, I would always say it was the best thing I had ever done, but the worst thing that ever happened to me. And that it's the only way I could categorize it because the highs were so much higher, but the lows were so much lower. And I felt like there was this metamorphosis of me as an individual
Yeah,
where, like you, I was ambitious and I had all these hopes and dreams and I was living my own life. And that moment, the first baby comes into your world, it's not about you anymore for a long time. We don't talk about what that loss of identity is because it is a loss. It's a loss and a gain. Best thing I've ever done, worst thing to ever happen to me, at least for me. It was this metamorphosis into somebody I didn't know, which was incredible. But did you experience something similar to that?
100%. I feel like I'm still in it. I still can't fully prioritize my, I don't think I will, as a mom, we're never gonna prioritize our goals over our kids' needs, but it definitely got better. I totally felt like I lost myself. I would look at pictures from college and cry. Like, oh, remember? I would tell my husband, remember when we could just sleep in and then you'd bring me my matcha and we'd just be in bed reading The New Yorker for 6 hours on a Sunday? And that makes me sad thinking about it now. But it's like those little things. And I just did not know that I would lose all that temporarily. I
Yeah.
still can't read The New Yorker for 6 hours on a Sunday. I could if my mom was here. When my mom visits, I'm a different mom. It's suddenly I'm like, ooh, because I think there's a difference between I have a phenomenal nanny. Who, she's the reason I'm doing this. Like, I'm so grateful for my nanny. But there's a different kind of relief when a grandparent is helping. And
Yeah.
like suddenly, when my mom comes, I can be like, okay, meals are her responsibility. So I don't need to think about groceries anymore. I don't think about cooking dinner. Whoop, that's done. I can be spontaneous. Hey, mom, Reed and I are going to go see a movie. Is that fine? Sure, hon. Have fun. Don't check in. She hates when I check in. She's like, just don't bother me with your texts. Like, how are the kids today? She's like, sleeping. Like, just enjoy. If you're not going to enjoy your time, I'm not going to do it. So that is such a different type of help.
Yeah.
That's almost like I could share the burden of motherhood with my
Yeah.
mom and we do it together. That's priceless. I don't
Your
think
mom,
any paid help can do that.
yeah. Your mom's like, I can handle an emergency room. You think I can't change diapers? I love in my
Like,
head, she's coming to life. I love
yeah,
her
she's just like eye
personality.
rolling, like, just go. It's also really great to have her home. Like, she was with us when River had his first croup attack. Are you familiar with
Yep.
croup?
Yep.
So I wasn't. So I woke up to this barking cough where my son couldn't breathe. And I'm freaking out. And my mom is just like, where's the nebulizer? I'm like, the nebulizer. So she takes the nebulizer out, puts it on him, calls the ambulance. And I just watch and I'm like, if she wasn't here, like,
Yeah.
what would I do? So now, if it happens, we're just like, okay, it's croup again. Get the nebulizer. Here's Bluey River. Okay, go back to bed. Now it's chill. But like, it's such a blessing to have her help me through this. I wasn't going to have my second kid if it wasn't for my mom.
Yeah.
Sorry, my husband. But I honestly, if I didn't have that kind of help, I don't think I would have had my second kid. And I know it's a blessing and I know it's a privilege for her to be this involved. And I'm also grateful. Like, she helps me maintain my identity or get parts of me back. Let's put it that way.
I love that for you.
Love that for me too.
Yeah. I love that my mom's local too now. I love that for me too.
It's a huge
It's a game
difference. Yeah.
changer. It's a game
Yeah,
changer.
100%.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she moved down when my second kid retired early and moved down when my second kid was born. And the
Yeah.
difference between having her for the second kid and not having her for my oldest. Now she was 3 hours away. She would come down all the time, but it's different. It's
Not
different
the same
if
thing.
she could show up and help out as much as she did. It's a game changer. Naz, I just in my head, I see this ambitious driven, very academic, valedictorian, like you're just an achieving personality type that you had in your head, I need to find my husband, I need to get married, I need to have my kids. And you did that, right? So did you feel like when that happened, when you woke up and you're like, okay, I've checked, were you like, I have arrived? Or what was that
No,
reality like for you?
it was so interesting because I remember this so vividly. I was 6 months postpartum with River, with my firstborn, and everything was good. Everyone was sleeping. He was starting solids. I felt like I was getting my groove back. I was back at work. And then it hit me one day. I was like, what's next? I was so obsessed with, my friends will laugh at this, but I was so obsessed with finding a husband, like my whole life. I was so obsessed. I think my aunt made me this way. If she ever listens, she'd just be like, where's the husband? When are we doing this? So I was so hyper focused on finding a husband, a good husband, having a child, that once I arrived there and I was 31, is this it? Are we done? Are we done with life now? I felt so lost. And that's the first time in my adult life that I got a therapist. I had a therapist. She was so phenomenal. She was like an investment banker, like phenomenal career, and then decides to quit everything and become a therapist type of person. So she was also very like a high achieving woman who then realized like, oh, mental health matters. So she really helped me out of that slump. And I'm still, to be very honest, I'm still working on getting back to my dream career. I still feel like I can't be fully in it because my daughter is not even one yet. And I know I am the flexible parent I have to be there for her and for my son after school. But I still don't feel ready uh, to go deep in it because, as I told you, like a friend of mine pointed this out, you're in the trenches. This is the hardest bit. Maybe not. I don't know about the teenagers, but this is a hard period where I can't just be like, all right, I'm gonna go full on into my career because I feel like I'm 10% there in a weird way with the goals I have for my career and myself. I feel like I'm 10, 15% there. And I know I will get there, but it's slow. It's a
Yeah.
slow going back process.
I will say, having one teenager so far, you're in the most difficult. There are so many physical requirements of you in these years that
Yeah.
we don't talk enough about sleep deprivation and the types of energies that you have to deal with young kids where they are they're just developing. They don't necessarily do things that are sane and thought through, and you have to be everyone to everything to everyone for a bunch of years.
Yeah. Yeah. And I have a very hands-on partner, and I'm so grateful for him. And I don't know what I would do without his help, or like with help without him being so present. And I know a lot of women do this without that kind of help. I feel like I would crumble. I don't know. It is really brutal. The hardest part has been sleep for us. Now we have a better, like a better situation, but it wasn't even the baby. It was my toddler, or like now my kid, I guess, 4.5-year-old, who struggled a lot with sleep after the baby came. So like my daughter just sleeps 12 hours, sleeps through the night now, but my son still wants someone to be with him in the night. So there would be a lot of like traffic in the house. Like we would be in our bed, he would come over, someone would walk him back to his bed, sleep there. In the morning they pick up the baby, and then like we're like, when did we sleep? Did we sleep last night? And then you have to like, okay, now I have to go teach 2 classes, grade 40 papers, and like what's for dinner? Like, and doing all that on no sleep is some kind of torture, really. And it like makes you miserable. It makes you feel like everything is going wrong in life and that you're falling short in every aspect of your life. At least that's how it makes me feel. um we've had a good stretch, so I don't want to jinx anything, but it's because one of us still sleeps with our son. Like we
Yeah.
were unable to separate. And honestly, I am not in a headspace to go through that training or that process of separating beds right now. I'd rather just sleep with him. Everyone sleeps. I'll deal with that, and he's not going to sleep with me forever. But that was my solution, and now everyone's happy. But it's so hard. Sleep deprivation is so hard.
So hard.
Um, and no one can really help you with it. Sure, I had that night nurse for 2 nights a week for 2 months when my baby turned 4 months because it got really bad with my son. And even on the nights that she worked, I would wake up every time my baby would wake up. So I didn't find it to be so useful because I was still waking up. Like I wasn't able to sleep through the night if someone else was taking care of my baby.
Yeah.
It's like you can't win.
It's funny, one of those ideals that I feel like everybody pregnant has, right? It's like you sleep in the bed with your husband, and each kid will sleep in their own corresponding room. And my experience is very similar to yours, right? It's like I took a shift sleeping in one kid's room, and my husband took a shift sleeping in the other kid's room. And like it was like musical. I love how you
Yeah,
described the
musical
night
chairs.
traffic. It was like, okay, what is our best case scenario so that we each get the maximum amount of sleep,
Yeah,
and what does each kid need in order to give us the best bet? And then that's what we did for years.
yeah. And I think that's what a lot of people do, but they just don't talk about it because they feel like it's a failure.
Yeah.
This is the first time I actually heard people co-sleeping with their toddlers was when River went to this like preschool. It was like a part-time preschool. And when I was talking to the parents there about my sleep woes, and they were like, "Oh, we're all sleeping together." So we gave up. The kids are in the bed. And I was like, "Oh, really?" And they're like, "Yeah, that's how like we can sleep. Otherwise, no one gets sleep." And I was like, "Okay, so this is what people do. Why don't they just say it?"
Yeah.
You know? Why are we pretending everyone has perfect sleep hygiene and everyone's in their beds? If you got that down, good for you. I don't know how you did it. No judgment, but I know
Right.
a lot of people struggle with it.
I couldn't do it, and I couldn't do cry it out. I just
No.
couldn't. There was something that was biological in me that when my babies cried, like leaving them alone, I know that it works. I have seen some data related at daycare where I just couldn't, I didn't have the heart. I couldn't do it.
Yeah. It's especially harder when they're fully conscious and they can say, "Mama." What am I going to do? Lock the door on a 2-year-old and make him cry? No. Yep. So we're
Yeah.
sleeping together. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
So, what has the most joyful part of motherhood been for you?
Aw, I'm going to cry. I think just my relationship with them. Uh, there now that River's 4.5 and he's like a full human being who can have full conversations with me, give me advice, crack jokes, and I'm just like, this is a miracle. Like from that little blub that kept me up and made me cry all the time to this literally joy of my life, watching him grow up and our relationship and our little routines and our little inside jokes. It's worth everything. And even Ella, who's not even one, has such a big personality. The way she like was like mama. Oh my God, I die. I think it's like our one-on-one relationship and how special it is just to the two of us. I cherish that so much. And even when I take me time and we do a staycation, the feeling I like miss them. I look at the photos and I just want to cuddle. I just want to hug their little bodies. But the most joy has been just being their mom, but also a friend, having that interpersonal relationship.
Yeah.
Um, you experience in a different way because now your kids are much older, but it also made me realize my relationship with my own parents. Wow, like now they have a 35-year-old and I can give them advice on anything and we can talk. It's so interesting.
Yeah.
It's so crazy to me. It's
Ella's
so
going to be
crazy to
stealing
me.
your clothes. I'm just going to give you a
I
warning.
can't wait. I honestly, I'm such a girly girl. Like we do her hair now. I'm doing everything I couldn't do with River because of the pandemic, I'm doing with her. I have the girliest baby shower. Anytime, any excuse for a celebration. We did that first tooth party because it's like a tradition in Turkey. We went all out, ribbons, hearts. Like I'm doing the most. I
I love it.
love having a girl. I love having a girl too. Oh, so
I love it.
sweet.
You've talked about your mom and how her support has been just so critical for you and your very supportive and involved husband. What do you think? And the trials with the night nurse and the nanny. What do you think? What's the ideal makeup of support look like for young moms?
I think number one is a very supportive husband, because the other people come and go, but you're living with your partner, right? They're there 24/7, assuming. I mean, you're doing it together. You share a house, you share a life, you're sharing the kids.
Yeah.
I think a very supportive husband, and the role might not come innately to them. I think you have to teach them, and you have to be very clear with your expectations and your needs. You have to spell it out. You really have to spell it out for the man. You just got to tell them exactly what you need, how you need it. Number one, husband. Number two, none of us live in the same city. I'm not saying none of us, but most of us don't live in the same city as our parents anymore. I think having some sort of a grandparent figure, doesn't have to be it's a grandparent figure, is important. Um, and then, of course, I'm so lucky to be able to have a nanny, but we've also had phenomenal teachers, phenomenal schools, phenomenal preschools, like finding a good match, because it's such a big, to be honest, this is gonna, the trenches, 2.5 years. And then school comes in and all these classes, and you can lighten the load. But for the first bit, I think having a supportive husband and training that husband, I find it very helpful. We were the first ones in our friend groups to have kids. And now that all my friends are having kids, um, I see how helpful my husband can be for my friends' husbands. They
Yeah.
started like dad WhatsApp groups where they talk about, should I give the baby Motrin and they're teething and not stop crying? Like I see the conversations and I love it. And I think we talk a lot to our mom friends, but I think it's important for dads to talk to their dad friends and learn. Communication is everything, being transparent and clear. And it's so hard to ask for help, especially for like type A women like us. But I think learning how to ask help and ask for help and clearly telling them what you need. I give this advice to a lot of my postpartum friends too, or friends who are going to support postpartum friends. Don't ask them, what do you need? Just deliver. Show up, do their laundry, bring some food, maybe hire someone to clean their house. Like people don't feel comfortable telling you exactly what they might need, but they're never going to say no to from you. Like showing up and helping. But I think that all comes secondary. I think number one is your partner.
So there's a picture of motherhood in the media in the US. Celebrities, big support system. What do you think? The biggest example in my brain is Lean In, which came out when I was a young mom, and at first I felt really inspired by it, and then I felt a little defeated by it.
Yeah.
What do you think that those narratives that are prominent in the media about motherhood, what are they doing for the rest of the 99% of people that don't have the same resources and scenarios?
I think it's becoming a little better because now it's also become a flex to be authentic and show what's going on behind closed doors. And that can be also part of someone's brand. But I think it's getting better. But I definitely remember, it doesn't affect me anymore, is seeing even like people from my own circles, like being on a date night, like 4 weeks postpartum in a sexy dress. And I'd be like, what? And this is not a celebrity. Like these people are in our circles, right? And I'd be like, who's watching the baby? Are you pumping? All these questions in my head. How do you look so good? Didn't you just give birth? And I just be like, I suck. Everything sucks. Like, hated it. Honestly, just don't even look at social media for a good 6 months. It's so unrealistic. And good for that person to be doing it, but she's not telling you how much she paid for the night nurse, or maybe she's not breastfeeding, which is obviously a choice, but like, you don't know the whole story. Or maybe she feels absolutely miserable. She needed a night out to feel like herself again. And that's also okay. But I think comparison is so unhealthy during this period. And again, like celebrities are not going to go online and be like, oh, yeah, I have doctor on call and a night nurse, also a nanny who's watching my other kid. They're not going to tell you that they have 7 people supporting them so they can go on a date night. But okay, long story short, if coming from a more like scholarly perspective, we haven't really seen in the modern world, people haven't really seen a live birth until they go through it themselves. Back in the day when you lived in villages and big homes, you would see your sister give birth. You would go to your neighbor's daughter give birth, like you were familiar with it. You were familiar with taking care of a baby. Someone would pass you the baby and it was your turn, or put the baby to a nap. Like you were more familiar as a woman or as a young girl with what true motherhood and postpartum looks like. In modern society, we have no exposure to it aside from media, which is so skewed in the wrong direction. I teach lectures on this. Like one example is Charlotte from Sex and the City going into a restaurant about to pop, sees Big, gets mad, goes outside with like shopping bags. Oh, my water broke. There's no water anywhere. Water broke, but like, where's the gushing? Where's the water? You're still on your Manolos, okay? And they're rushing. They need to get to the hospital right now. So fake and unrealistic.
Yeah.
And that is your baseline birth experience. Because you've never seen it yourself, your baseline is what on TV. Same as motherhood, what on social media. And you think it's like that. But when you're going through it and you realize it's not like that, that those failed expectations can really get you down. Can you really put you in a dark place? Representation always matters. Go visit your friend who just gave birth. Go see what it looks like. I
Yeah.
mean, because you're not going to see it on social media. I'm not going to show you my most vulnerable moments and make a video out of it. Though, there's a new movie, what is that with Amy? There's a new movie about postpartum motherhood.
Oh, is there?
What is it?
I don't
The
know.
Night Bitch. Oh, you have to see it. The
Okay.
Night Bitch was the first time I saw a real depiction of new motherhood. I laughed and I cried at every scene. I'm glad that movie exists. It's not going to be super popular, right? Because it's not a topic. But I think those kind of movies and those kind of representations are so important, especially for young women who want to become moms and they need that realistic baseline.
The birth process alone, I remember being in it going, nobody told me it was going to be like it was. And in retrospect, I kept telling other young pregnant women, just imagine a car crash. There's blood everywhere. The intensity of the emergency is more than you would ever imagine in your wildest dreams. But I think the misrepresentation or the lack of representation around the birth process in general, too, it's just we don't necessarily know until we are the human that has to get a child out of our uterus. And
It's such a
it was
weird.
such a shock. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know how we do it. I My first one was a C-section after I pushed for 4.5 hours, but I haven't felt labor because they gave me an epidural pretty early on. I felt maybe two contractions. My second baby, I had a scheduled C-section, but I went into labor the night before, and I was in labor for a good 3.5 hours until I got the epidural, and I could not believe
Yeah.
the pain. I was like, women do this without pain medication?
Yeah.
Like, I
Yep.
just it was just insane being in it, and then you're like, how am I gonna go to the other side? It just feels
No.
impossible in the moment, right?
Like
And
I don't
statistically, I would have died because my first baby didn't even come out of me. He was
yeah.
stuck because he was like facing forward,
Yeah.
gone. It's a whole spectrum. And they use it, nothing is out of control the way that it's portrayed in the media too. Like in the media, they use birth as like an entertainment element, right? Something always goes wrong. There's always a comment about, oh, the baby's heart rate. Oh, your water broke. Oh, the dad's not here. Like they use it for entertainment, but it's all around fear. You don't really see like empowering or like, a regular birth where like everything is under control. That's the majority of the births, right? So yeah, using media for this is not a good, I teach
Yeah.
entertainment education and how to use media to teach the public about health. We have a long way to go for birth. There are positive examples, but again, in general, everyone remembers
Yeah.
like the traumatic ones. Yeah, but the biggest takeaway I personally learned from the whole dissertation process and being in this field for a minute is to have flexible expectations. Because if you have very rigid expectations around birth and around motherhood, you will always be upset. Nothing is going to go according to plan.
Yeah.
Nothing. So you need to have flexible expectations, go into it, any situation. Anything can happen. I feel like it happens today in motherhood. I can expect my son to come home and have dinner and go to bed, or I can expect him to come home and start throwing up and we're up all night. It's like
Yeah.
We don't know what we're going to get today. So you really need to have flexible expectations, flexible plans, which is sad, but like we have become so flexible. We used to travel all the time. Like we don't buy tickets until we're sure we're not sick that week. Like
Yeah.
so just it applies to birth, it applies to postpartum, educated but flexible.
Yes, I love that. That's a great mantra. So you're building something new.
Yes.
Tell me about the village.
Okay, this is an idea that I've been thinking about for a long time. I actually started something similar called the Millennial Bump a few years ago when I was doing my dissertation. I wasn't super passionate about what I was doing with it. It didn't really go anywhere. But now that I'm actually a mother myself, who is also trying to juggle career and being a good wife and a good citizen, a good friend, the whole thing, I really want to have meaningful conversations around it with a health twist, bringing my health background to it. So I'm working on a podcast, and actually, a really good friend of mine from college, Whitney, who is now an executive coach, and we started working together. She was the one who really pushed me to do it, and she helped me come up with the name and the concept too, because she's like, "Do you really want this to be a women's health podcast? You sound like this should be like a parenting and community help." And I'm like, yeah, actually. So she really helped me. I have to do a little shout out. The village is going to be your village, the village that we don't have, the village that we lost. Going back to the village example I was talking to you about, hopefully we'll have conversations and we'll have guests on it that will help you through your parenthood by just sharing the struggles that they're going through. And each and every one of them will have, I'm not going to say a health struggle, but yeah, something that they struggle with their own health or with their kids' health. And then we're going to go into that as well. I don't want it to make it a health podcast. It's clear that I haven't recorded anything yet, but I have a whole list. It's going to be about parenthood, juggling career, um, expectations on you, and how to navigate all that while also trying to be healthy, because I think
Yeah.
health comes first. If you're not healthy, you're not going to be able to do any of this. And I struggled with my health a lot, still do, since I've become a mom. Uh, I get colds a lot. I get sick a lot from my kids. I get sick a lot from teaching. And how are you going to mother or parent when you're not feeling your best? So a lot of conversations around that, starting as a podcast, building a website. I hope it becomes something meaningful and helps parents in our modern times as serving as our new village, the village that we never had.
I love this idea. I think it's
Thank
so
you.
needed. So
I
needed.
I think what you're doing is so needed too. And I think there's a lot of overlap. And I think these
Absolutely.
conversations are have to be had because we struggle a lot, but we try to put our best lives on online, and it's not helping anybody.
I think we also don't make time to talk about it. I think
Yeah.
that's why this project for me feels powerful is when I was going through it, I didn't get to hear anybody else's stories besides maybe a couple of friends that I worked with or friends that I knew. But even your friendships and relationships, when I was also one of the first in my friend group to have a kid, and
Yeah.
you lose some of your ride or die friends for a moment because you're going through something that they can't necessarily relate to. So I think that this kind of support structure and these kinds of transparent conversations, I think my hope and your hope also is that we just help moms going through
Yeah.
these chapters where really there's not a lot in place to help them now.
I agree. I shared a story the other day after my baby was teething, my son wasn't sleeping, and in the morning it was Halloween, so we had to go to my son's parade at school. It was like we were feeling so miserable. We had 5 minutes to ourselves with a little beverage in bed. This is when our nanny walked in, and before we left for the parade, and we took 5 minutes, and I posted a picture telling what happened. The DMs I got from moms, "Oh, so it happens to you too?" I'm like, "Of course it happens to me. Just because I post, oh, here's a tooth party and everything looks fantastic, doesn't mean that, yay, no there's so many problems." And I don't want people to think that I have this perfect life and perfect motherhood. Nothing is perfect. But even sharing that little bit helped so many people.
Yeah.
Just maybe for a minute. They're like, "Oh, I'm not alone in this. Other moms go through it." Yeah, my mom friends helped me so much. especially through my first pregnancy. I had none close to me. I had two mom friends, both in the UK in a weird way. Two good friends who moved away and they had babies. And one of them actually is Monica, is the reason I kept breastfeeding. I was about to give up. I'm like, I can't do this. My mom was like, you should do it. Keep going. You can do it. It's going to get better. Monica was the one who's, you're going to wake up one morning. It's going to be fine. And it exactly happened that way. I woke up one morning, week 8. It was fine. Um, Even that one line is what you need to hear from another mom who went through it.
Yeah.
Just to know that what you're going through is normal
Yeah.
and you are not failing.
And you're not failing. What would
Mm-mm.
you tell your younger self before you had kids?
Party more. Not that I didn't party. I party a lot. But like, I just feel so stupid, like saying no to some stuff. Like, I was dating my husband. We were invited to one of my really good friends' wedding in Morocco. And we had another wedding like in Turkey 2 weeks prior. And I was like, we can't do both. And now I'm like, why not? Why didn't you do both?
Yeah.
Oh, were you going to be tired? Is it going to be too much travel? Too much fun? Oh my God. So I would just tell her to enjoy your life. Don't stress about husbands because once you find them, that's your life for the rest of your life. Um, I don't know. I don't think I could tell her anything about motherhood because
Yeah.
a lot of people will tell you things. You have to go through it yourself to truly understand it. You can have support, you can have the stories, but nothing will prepare you until
What do
you
you,
become a mom yourself. So I
yeah.
don't know if I would tell her anything about motherhood.
Do you think surviving this phase comes from planning or resilience or surrender, or what do you think is key to surviving this phase of being in the thick of it?
I'm not going to say resilience because I don't think I was resilient. I still don't think I'm resilient. I tend to crumble a lot in the face of certain challenges. And it's my husband who is, this is our life. Get it together. Like, this is our life. This is fine. Take a breath, come back to the dining room. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
so I'm not going to sugarcoat and be like, I'm so strong in the face of every challenge. I'm calm. No, I'm not calm. I am like the opposite of calm. My husband is calm. And then when I to ask him, like, how are you so calm? And he goes, one of us has to be calm.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
I'm just screaming on the inside. I'm like, thanks, because I can't do that. I'm screaming inside, outside, everywhere. Um, it really is finding the joy and focusing on the positive, because there's a lot of the negative just feels like things are out of your control. That's what I really struggle with, because
Yeah.
I'm always so in control of everything. Like I'm obsessively in control of things. You can't be in control of children. Like you really can't be. Like you can help
Yeah.
them and guide them, but you can't control them. And when things go out of control, and this could be like, the house is a mess. We're out of cereal. This like River has a fever. Things are going to get out of control. I'm still learning that it's okay to let go of control. And I think that is what you need is to be like, motherhood is its own thing. It's not going to resemble my previous life. It might not align fully with my identity. You got to let things be a little out of control. This is so hard. And I know it sounds privileged, but taking a little bit of me time can make a huge difference. I'm not saying go on vacation. It could be half an hour at your favorite coffee shop, sipping on your favorite drink with no one touching you for 20 minutes. Like that, that's it. That could be me time. Scheduling something, a night out with your girlfriends, or I don't know, booking a little like massage, getting your nails done. I know these cost money and you might need to pay a nanny or it is from a privilege standpoint, but if you don't fill your cup, like you can't do it for other people. That's when you start building resentment. And that's the worst place to be as a mom and a caregiver if you're feeling resentful towards your family. Like
Yeah.
I've been in those moments and I'm like, what am I doing? All I need is a little bit of me time and then everything is great. But I think
Yeah.
we forget that or we think that we don't deserve it. It is so important to do a little bit of me time and don't feel bad leaving the kids with the dad to do bed and bath time. go out once a
Yeah.
while, right? I think that's important.
I think too, at least with my firstborn, I didn't leave enough. And what it meant is that the relationship was really dependent on me with my daughter. And you can leave for those moments of time. It allowed for my husband's relationship with her to strengthen because it gave him more of a role with her.
100%.
Yeah.
Again, letting go of control. He might not do the things in the exact way you want him to do, but
Right. Sure.
let him go, let him be, let him have his own relationship and routines and things with his kids. And I think that's so important. I think this is a very important point. Also, leaving allows your kid to feel comfortable with other caretakers, not just the dad. It could be
Yeah.
your nanny, your grandma. Like, it's important for them to have these different characters that they bond with and they trust. Otherwise, also, I see moms where the kid is inconsolable without the mom. What a tough place to be, right?
Yeah.
Like, because then if you leave and your kid cries for 3 hours, then that's not me time. You feel guilty. So it's important that you can leave a little bit whenever you can, right? So that
Yeah.
they can build
Yeah.
those relationships too, and it's not fully dependent on you.
Yeah. It almost becomes a self-inflicted problem. If you are the only one consoling your kid, then you are then the only one that can console your kid.
100%.
Um,
And that's a
so
tough place to be.
it's a very tough place to be. So I have one last question for you.
Yes.
If you had to describe your journey as a working parent in 3 words, what would they be?
I have to think about this.
Think about it.
I was gonna say shit show is 2 words. I would roller coaster ride. How about that?
Yeah.
It is a roll, and I'm still on it. I think I'm gonna be on it for the rest of my life. Maybe the biggest hoops are we're done though. I don't feel nauseous anymore. Literally and figuratively.
I feel like every month it's going to get easier. You have survived the hardest part of it. The young
I
baby years.
Yeah, yeah. I already feel like it's better compared to the first few months. Now that like my daughter Ella she's not an independent, but she and I think there's a difference within boys and girls too, especially like I can just speak to mine, but Ella would just entertain herself for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, just because she has so much to do at home with her brother's stuff. Poor
Yeah.
River didn't have this array of stimulants, right? We only had the Love Every toys and baby appropriate. Ella has, ooh, I'm constantly making sure like there are no little pieces around, but River's desk is, whoa, look at all those paints I could put in my mouth. It's already easier.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it's easy. It's definitely easier.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
love it. Thank you, Naz. And thank
Of
you,
course, my
everyone.
pleasure.
Thank you, everyone, for listening to Look Both Ways. If Dr. Naz's story resonates with you, please share this episode, leave a review, and subscribe for more conversations about ambition, resilience, and motherhood. Thank you so much.
Thank you.